Stillness is not something you seek when the world begins to fall apart. It is something you cultivate long before the tremors are felt. A tree does not develop deep roots during the storm. It develops them in silence, in time, in seasons of stillness. And so must you. When the divine speaks, it often comes not with thunder, but with a whisper. And those attuned to the whisper are those who trained themselves in the art of stillness. God does not always send a storm to shake the soul awake. Sometimes he sends a quiet word, prepare. And this word, though soft in sound, carries the weight of destiny. Stillness is preparation, not because it allows you to hide from the chaos, but because it trains you to remain centered within it. There is a misconception in the modern mind that to prepare is to panic, to gather, to shout, to post, to run. But the wise know, true preparation begins with the breath. It begins in the secret place of the spirit, where nothing moves but awareness itself. This kind of stillness is not passive, it is a fierce, deliberate presence. It is the same stillness the Shaolin monks cultivate before a demonstration of power. The calm before the movement, the silence before the strength, the breath before the breakthrough. When God said, "Tell your family to prepare," he did not mean buy more, hoard more, fear more. He meant return. Return to your inner temple. Return to your spiritual posture. Return to the breath, to the body, to the awareness of this moment. The body that is restless cannot hear. The mind that is noisy cannot see. The heart that is heavy cannot rise. So to prepare is to lighten all of these, to cleanse your inner space, so that the divine message can find a home within you. And you are still, truly still, something within you aligns with the eternal. The chaos around you might continue, but it can no longer control you. And that, my dear friend, is true preparation. In the monastery we were taught that discipline in stillness is greater than strength in motion. A man who can sit for hours without fidgeting, who can breathe without desire, who can listen without reacting, that man is not weak, he is immovable. Because the storms of the world do not move him. The shifting opinions, the rapid changes, the waves of uncertainty, they may crash around him, but his foundation is already buried deep in the soil of awareness. That is what God is calling you to pass on to your family. Not fear, not panic, but presence. Teach them to become still, not just in body, but in spirit. Because the battles of the coming days will not be fought with weapons, but with clarity. And clarity only arises in silence. Have you ever watched water in a bowl when it is still? You can see your reflection perfectly. But when the surface is disturbed, even slightly, your image becomes distorted. The same is true of your soul. When it is still, it can reflect the divine, but when it is disturbed by constant thoughts, endless scrolling, anxious conversations, it no longer knows what is truth and what is illusion. So stillness is more than quiet, it is clarity. And clarity is the first weapon of the awakened one. When God says prepare, he is saying sharpen your clarity. Stop moving for the sake of movement. Stop reacting to every gust of wind. Sit, breathe, wait, and you will see what others miss. You will hear what others ignore. You will know what others doubt. Most families today are built on activity. Running here, working there, distracted at the table, present in body but absent in spirit. Children sense the tension. Spouses feel the drift. And yet, there is no pause, no returning, no stillness. But now the divine has spoken. Tell them, prepare, which means come back to the moment. Eat in silence sometimes, speak less and listen more. Gaze at each other and remember what you're truly here for. Turn off the noise, not just on the screen, but in the heart. Because the greatest disaster is not outside. It is the inability to hear God when he speaks, and he is speaking now. We were taught that stillness is not just for meditation. It is a way of walking, a way of eating, a way of living. A man can chop wood with stillness. A woman can wash clothes with stillness. A child can sit in the grass and know God through stillness. You do not need incense or bells or chants. You need presence. Complete, undivided presence. And when the whole family learns this, they become more than relatives. They become your family. They become a spiritual unit, a force of divine awareness. And that, my friend, is what God wants from your house. Not wealth, not perfection, but unity in stillness. A family that prepares by returning to the source. The mind will resist. It always does. It will say, you don't have time. You have responsibilities. You must keep moving. But this is the lie of the world. Because without stillness, you are moving without direction. You are running without destination. You are living without awareness. Stop. Just for a moment. Ask yourself, what truly matters if the world changes tomorrow? What will I wish I had taught my children? What will I regret not saying to my parents? What memories will I long for if everything else fades? You already know the answer. And all those answers require stillness, intimacy, presence, preparation of the soul. There is a story told of a man who lived in a quiet village. One day he saw clouds gathering differently than before. He felt something stir in the wind. While others dismissed it, he began to prepare, not with panic, but with prayer. He taught his children how to be quiet in the heart. He spoke kindly to his neighbors. He stored peace, not possessions. When the storm finally came, others ran, others shouted, others blamed. But his home remained a place of calm, of light, of refuge. Why? Because he prepared not with fear, but with stillness. That is the kind of preparation God is calling you to. When you sit in stillness, you are not being lazy, you are aligning, you are tuning your inner ear to the divine frequency. And just like a musician who tunes his instrument before the concert, you must tune your soul before the test. Because when the time comes, it will not be the loudest who will lead. It will be the calmest. It will not be the strongest who endure. It will be those who are most anchored in God, anchored in stillness, anchored in inner peace. Teach your family how to do this, not by lectures, but by example. Let them see you wake up and sit in silence. Let them feel your presence, grounded, undistracted. Let them watch how you breathe before you speak, how you respond with grace instead of reaction. Let your presence teach what words cannot. Because children do not copy what you say, they copy what you embody. And if you embody stillness, they will follow. If your home becomes a sanctuary of presence, they will learn. And that learning will become their shield when the winds rise. There is no substitute for spiritual preparation. No amount of money, education, or planning can replace inner alignment. Because when the moment of testing comes, only one thing will matter. Can you hear God clearly? And that hearing requires stillness. The prophet Elijah did not hear God in the earthquake or the fire, but in the still, small voice. The same is true now. The divine is not in the panic. It is not in the noise. It is in the stillness. Will you be able to hear it? Will your family? The time to prepare is now, not because something bad is about to happen, but because something sacred is always happening, and most miss it. The divine invitation to return is always present. The whisper to come back to stillness never leaves. But only those who slow down enough can respond. And that is what God is saying. Tell your family to prepare by slowing down, by returning to what is eternal, by letting go of what is loud but meaningless, by anchoring in what is quiet but holy. A monk once said, "Do not wait for the moment of fear to discover the strength of your faith." And I say to you, do not wait for the storm to realize the power of your stillness. Begin today. Begin now. Sit in silence for 5 minutes with your family. Put your hand on your heart and feel its rhythm. Speak a blessing over your home with sincerity, and then do it again tomorrow. These are not small acts. These are sacred foundations, and they are the true meaning of preparation. Stillness is not an escape from life. It is the root of life itself. All wisdom flows from it. All power arises from it. All divine instruction is born within it. Do not run away from the world. Do not fear what is coming. Instead, become so still that you see everything with clarity. So present that nothing surprises you. So rooted that no wind can shake you. This is the way of the monk. This is the way of the awakened. And this is the way of the awakened. This is the way of those who are truly prepared. So hear me now, not just with your ears, but with your spirit. God said, tell your family to prepare. That preparation begins not in the market, not in the media, but in the mirror, in the soul, in the space between two breaths. If you can find stillness there, you can survive anywhere. If you can lead your family into presence, you have already protected them from the greatest danger, unconscious living.
Now is the time. Return, breathe, prepare, in stillness. When a traveler prepares for a long journey, he must look carefully at what he carries. Every item he holds must serve a purpose. Every ounce of weight he brings will cost him energy with every step. In the same way, when God whispers that it is time to prepare, he is not just asking you to gather what is necessary, he is also asking you to remove what is not. And in truth, this removal, this stripping away, is often the most important part of the preparation. For it is not what you lack that burdens you, it is what you cling to that no longer serves your journey. To prepare spiritually is to lighten your soul. It is to look honestly at what you are carrying, beliefs, habits, emotions, regrets, and ask with courage, is this helping me become who I must be, or is this an attachment that delays my awakening? There is great humility in letting go. There is deep wisdom in surrender. But modern life often confuses attachment with identity. You think you are your pain, your possessions, your opinions, your social image, but you are not. You are awareness, you are presence, you are breath. And anything that separates you from that awareness, from that sacred presence, must be released if you are to walk the next path, prepared. When God said, tell your family to prepare, he did not mean fill your shelves. He meant empty your hearts. Empty them of resentment, of pride, of comparison, of false urgency. Because what is coming does not require physical storage. It requires spiritual agility. And spiritual agility only belongs to those who are free. Free from the invisible burdens that most people carry without question. Ask yourself now, what in my life has become dead weight? What have I held on to, not because it still nourishes me, but because I fear what would happen if I let it go? You see, there are habits that served you once but now hinder you. There are relationships that once taught you love but now teach you fear. There are patterns in your mind that once protected you from pain but now protect you from truth. These must be examined gently but firmly, because preparation requires space. And you cannot receive new instruction if your hands are full of old pain. You cannot see the next sign if your vision is clouded by distraction. You cannot walk into sacred destiny if your feet are tangled in the past. Letting go is not weakness, it is strength. The sword that is too heavy cannot be lifted. The mind that is too full cannot be disciplined. The family that holds grudges cannot walk in divine unity. And so, God says, remove the unnecessary, release the clutter, not just from your home, but from your thoughts. Simplify not just your schedule, but your spirit, because clarity comes from emptiness, not excess. And the soul only speaks when the noise of unnecessary things has been silenced. In the Shaolin Temple, we clean every morning, not because the place is dirty, but because cleaning is a spiritual act. It is a ritual of letting go. We sweep not only the floor, but the mind. We dust not only the shelves, but the soul. And the same must be done in your life. Look around your space, your physical space, and ask, does this item hold meaning, or is it just filling a void? Look at your calendar. Are these activities nourishing my growth, or are they distractions dressed as duties? Look at your relationships. Am I clinging to familiarity? Or am I honoring alignment? Even sacred things, when held too tightly, can become idols. A belief that once brought you closer to God can, if clung too rigidly, separate you from divine flow. A tradition that once carried spirit can become empty ritual if performed without heart. This is why the path of preparation is also the path of humility, to Remove the unnecessary is to say, I am willing to grow. I am willing to evolve. I am willing to release what no longer reflects truth. This is not rejection. It is refinement. This is not abandonment. It is ascension. You must also guide your family through this process, not by force, but by example. Let them see you release the past with grace. Let them feel the peace that flows into your life when you choose simplicity over accumulation. Show them what it means to detach from what the world calls important so you can reattach to what the soul calls essential. Children learn not just from your words, but from the energy you carry. If your presence is heavy, anxious, cluttered, they will absorb that energy. But if you move through life with lightness, clarity, and peace, they will learn a different rhythm. Teach your family to remove the unnecessary by teaching them silence. Let there be hours in the day where no devices are used, where no tasks are done. Only presence. Let there be meals where the only ingredient is mindfulness. Let there be evenings without screens and mornings without rush. And if they ask why, say because we are preparing, not for fear, not for disaster, but for deeper connection to what is real. Let the unnecessary fall away so that what is eternal can rise. You see, the soul already knows what to keep and what to let go of, but the mind interferes. The mind, conditioned by society, by fear, by past wounds, will say, keep it all, you never know. But the soul whispers, trust, you already know. There is an intelligence beyond logic, and it is accessed through stillness, through surrender. Sit in quiet, ask your heart, what must I release today? And then listen, truly listen. It may be a grudge you've held for years. It may be a plan you've clung to that no longer fits your path. It may be an identity that you've used to feel safe, but which now limits your becoming. Whatever it is, trust that releasing it does not leave you empty. It makes you available. Available to new wisdom, available to new direction, available to the presence of God, because God is always speaking, always guiding. But we cannot hear if we are filled with noise. We cannot move if we are bound by chains of the unnecessary. And so this is the sacred work now, unbinding, unloading, unlearning. You prepare not by holding on tighter, but by letting go more fully. Imagine walking into the next chapter of your life with nothing but what serves your soul. Imagine having no mental clutter, no emotional baggage, no spiritual confusion, only clarity, presence, and peace. This is not a fantasy. It is the result of conscious preparation. It is the fruit of removing the unnecessary. And yes, it takes courage. It takes honesty. It takes patience. But every step of release makes you lighter. Every act of surrender makes you stronger. Every choice to simplify makes you more available to God's movement. There is an ancient saying, you cannot pour new wine into old wineskins. In the same way, the new season you are being called into cannot fit within the container of your old self. You must become new, not by adding more, but by releasing the excess. You are not becoming something else. You are returning to what is essential. That is the nature of all true transformation. It is not addition, it is removal. What remains is your truest self, aligned with divine flow. So begin today, look around and within, identify one thing to release. It might be physical, it might be emotional, it might be energetic. Offer it up. Say, I release this so I may walk freely. I release this so I may hear clearly. I release this so I may prepare fully. And then breathe and do it again tomorrow. Let your life become a continuous practice of sacred release. And your home will become a temple of divine clarity. When others around you panic, you will remain calm. When others rush, you will move deliberately. When others are confused, you will walk with quiet confidence. Not because you have all the answers, but because you carry less noise. You have less illusion. You are no longer weighed down by what doesn't matter. That is the gift of preparation. That is the reward of removing the unnecessary. The storms that are coming are not here to destroy you. They are here to reveal you. And what they reveal will depend on what you've carried. So carry only what aligns with your soul. Carry only what brings you closer to peace. Carry only what supports your purpose. Let everything else fall away with love. You are not meant to be burdened. You are not meant to be overwhelmed. You are meant to be awake. You are meant to be free. You are meant to be prepared, not just for outer changes, but for inner awakening. And that awakening begins the moment you say, I will no longer carry what dims my light. I will no longer cling to what delays my becoming. I will remove the unnecessary, and I will prepare not out of fear, but out of devotion. Let this be your prayer. Strip me of what I do not need. Empty me of what blocks your presence. Cleanse me of what no longer serves. And fill me only with what is sacred, what is clear, what is light. Let this be your posture as you guide your family. Let this be your wisdom as you walk forward. You are not preparing to survive. You are preparing to rise. You are not clearing space for fear. You are clearing space for the divine. And now, the whisper has come. You have heard the call. You know what must be done. Begin the work. Remove what must go. Trust what will remain. And walk with sacred purpose into what is next. As God said, tell your family to prepare. And preparation begins with release. There is a space where heaven and earth meet, and it is not found in temples made of stone, nor in the silence of faraway mountains. It is found in your home, in the place where your family gathers, in the walls that hold your meals, your sleep, your tears, your laughter. Your home is not just a physical structure, it is a spiritual field, a mirror of your inner world, a vessel of the energy you allow, create, and maintain. And when the divine voice says, tell your family to prepare, the message is not only about the mind, nor only about the heart, it is also about the space. The sacred begins at home. If your home is full of noise, your spirit will echo that chaos. If your home is filled with clutter, your thoughts will remain confused. If your home is heavy with conflict, your energy will sink under the weight of spiritual resistance. The walls absorb emotion. The floor retains intention. The air reflects your prayers or your complaints. And so to prepare for what is coming, you must begin where you live. You must align your home with the sacred, because a home prepared in holiness becomes a shield, a sanctuary, a light on the darkening path ahead. To align your home is not to decorate it with symbols of spirituality. It is to charge it with sacred presence through the way you speak, the way you move, the way you think within its walls. The energy of your home is not defined by what you place upon your shelves, but by what you allow into your heart. The vibration of your space flows from the tone of your voice, the attitude of your presence, the respect with which you treat each moment. If the home is filled with impatience, urgency, distraction, then sacred energy cannot flow freely. But if the home is filled with mindfulness, reverence, simplicity, then even the smallest room becomes a temple of peace. When you wake, the energy of your first words set the tone for your house. Are they words of complaint, dread, obligation, or words of gratitude, stillness, and alignment? When you eat, does your family eat in silence, distracted, staring at cold, glowing screens? Or do you bless the food, share your breath, and remember that this meal is a gift, a moment of shared life? Every act within the home can either open or close the spiritual gate. There are no neutral moments. Every interaction either aligns you closer to the sacred or further away. To prepare is to become aware of this. The first practice is to return to presence. Every time you walk through your door, pause, breathe, notice, feel the energy. Ask yourself, what am I bringing in with me? Am I carrying the stress of the outside world into this place? Am I dragging in anxiety, anger, resentment? Or am I choosing to cleanse my spirit before I enter the sanctuary of my home? Let your front door become a spiritual threshold. Let it remind you that the energy outside does not have to enter with you. Leave it at the door. Choose presence. Choose sacred awareness. A prepared home is one where silence is not feared but honored, where moments of stillness are woven into the rhythm of the day, where prayer is not reserved for crisis but practiced in the ordinary, where laughter does not come at the cost of dignity and correction does not come without compassion. A sacred home is not one without imperfection. It is one where imperfection is met with grace. It is not one without noise, but one where noise does not drown the voice of the soul. It is not one without difficulty, but one where difficulty is held within the arms of love, patience, and prayer. You must remember that your family feels what you do not say. Children especially are tuned not to your words, but to your emotional frequency. If your mouth says peace, but your spirit carries stress, they will absorb the truth of your energy. If you claim to be preparing, but your daily actions are rushed, disconnected, and reactive, then your words mean little. True preparation is not spoken, it is lived. It is practiced in the way you wake each other, in the way you clean the home, in the way you speak during conflict, in the way you apologize, in the way you listen. To align your home with the sacred is to honor it as a living being, a living temple. Begin with the space itself, clean not just for hygiene, but for clarity. Every corner that gathers dust also gathers stagnant energy. As you wipe the windows, imagine your soul becoming more transparent. As you sweep the floor, visualize yourself removing the remnants of old pain, old patterns, old fear. As you tidy your rooms, feel yourself rearranging your spirit to make space for divine guidance. Physical order supports mental order. Simplicity in your surroundings creates openness in your mind. Make room for sacred sound. Let music that uplifts the spirit fill your space. Let words that heal the soul be spoken freely. Let silence have a seat at the table. Remove noise that numbs you. Turn off the television when no one is watching. Turn off the phone when someone is speaking to you. Turn off the autopilot mode of your day and return to the moment you're living. Sacredness does not arrive in noise. It reveals itself in presence. Let light enter your home, not just physical light, though sunlight is a great cleanser of stagnant energy, but inner light. Speak with kindness, greet each other with softness. Let your tone of voice be a beam that warms the heart of your children, of your spouse, of your visitors. The light in your home is not measured in lamps. It is measured in compassion, and compassion flows not from perfection, but from the humility to remain gentle even when things are hard, especially when they are hard. Create rituals, not out of superstition, but out of sacred rhythm. Light a candle at dinner and offer one sentence of gratitude. Begin each morning with a minute of silence. Touch your heart before you speak to remember the weight of your words. These small acts align your spirit with the higher. They invite God to dwell with you, not only on holy days, but in ordinary minutes. Your rituals do not have to be elaborate. They must only be consistent and sincere. The energy of your home is also shaped by what you allow in digitally. Every movie, every song, every image carries a vibration. Not all are bad, but many are unexamined. Be watchful. What you consume, you embody. What your children consume, they become. Do not allow entertainment to rob your home of sacred vibration. Do not let distraction become the dominant force in your living room. Create a space where focus is possible, where beauty is visible, where inspiration is welcomed. Bless your space with your attention. Do not live in one room and let the others die in neglect. Walk through your home with reverence. See each corner as a part of your spiritual field. Is this space stagnant? Is it alive? Is it honoring the life you wish to live? You do not need a new house, you need new awareness. The sacred is not in luxury, it is in intentionality. A simple, humble home filled with gratitude, presence, and peace is more sacred than the grandest mansion filled with anxiety, disconnection, and pride. Invite God into every room, not just the one where you pray, but the kitchen, the bedroom, the hallway. Speak blessings aloud as you walk, peace to this place, clarity to this space, love to this room, presence to this corner. Say it not as magic, but as alignment. Say it not as ritual, but as relationship. God is already near, but your awareness invites his movement. When there is tension in the home, do not let it linger. Conflict is inevitable, but prolonged disharmony poisons the sacred field. Apologize quickly, forgive freely, clear the air, open the window, let fresh breath enter your lungs and the soul of your house. Harboring bitterness is like burning incense of poison. It clouds every interaction. To align your home, your heart must be unclenched. Spend time together doing nothing but being. No screens, no plans, just presence.